Cyprus is a treasure house of UNESCO World Cultural Heritage Sites. On no other Mediterranean island are there so many magnificent Byzantine art treasures as on Cyprus. The works from this period include icons, frescoes, and mosaics dating back over 1,500 years. On July 15, 1974, the Greek colonels in Athens staged a coup against the president of Cyprus, Archbishop Makarios III. 5 days later, on July 20th, came the Turkish invasion of the northern part of the republic. 165,000 people fled from the Turkish troops to the south. The whole of the north, 36% of the territory of the republic, is still occupied by Turkish troops, and Nicosia is to this day a divided city. After the invasion, there was a systematic destruction and plundering of all the Orthodox churches and monasteries in the Turkish-occupied north by order of senior officers. These were no Turkish Cypriots. Like the Armenian monastery, all the sacred Orthodox buildings have fallen victim to vandalism and art theft. Archbishop Chrysostomos explains.
Από ιερά σκεύη, από ξυλόγλυπτα, από εικόνες, τα έχουν αφαιρέσει και έχουν κατακλείσει τις αγορές της Ευρώπης και της Αμερικής και οι νέοι μας σήμερα, εκτός του ότι είναι λαιλατημένοι, έχουν γίνει αρκετοί μουσουλμανικά τεμένοι και λειτουργούν ως διάφτα. Έχουν αρκετοί ναοί δυστυχώς γίνουν αποθήκες διάφορων αντικειμένων. Έχουν γίνει κέντρα διασκεδάσεως και το χειρότερο έχουν γίνει στάβλοι αλόγων ζώων.
With brute force, like voracious treasure seekers, people behaved like animals and literally tore frescoes out of the churches. Top-quality UNESCO World Heritage artworks were destroyed, like the head of the Archangel Michael from the Church of Christ Antiphonitis, which dates from around 1190. Numerous artworks were not only destroyed during the robberies, but are now lost forever. The robbers were followed by merciless experts from international art dealerships. Using the latest methods, they removed the frescoes from the walls in order to be able to put them on the market in as sound a condition as possible. The wall fresco from the Church of Christ Antiphonitis, dating from the end of the 15th century, showing the tree of Jesse, was taken apart to order. The art collectors were shown a photo of the whole fresco, picked out the head that they wanted, and ordered it for a high price. And only then was that detail of the fresco removed from the wall. Numerous icons and elaborate carvings from the icon screens, frescoes and icons from Antiphonitis and other churches in the Turkish-occupied sector of Cyprus, worth more than 30 million euros, were found by the Munich CID in 1997 during a search of the house of Erbikmen, a Turk living in Munich. The Republic of Cyprus is still waiting in vain today for the return of the artworks. Kyrenia, the most beautiful port in the Republic, is picturesquely situated at the point on the coast where the Pentadactylos mountain range runs down to the sea. Until the Turkish invasion in 1974, some 4,000 Greek and 800 Turkish Cypriots lived in Kyrenia. Today, 28,000 Turks live here. Turks from Ankara, Istanbul and Anatolia, with Turkish Cypriots forming a small minority. The demographic changes enforced by Ankara in 1974 create grave problems. In 1974, a total of 501,000 Greek and 116,000 Turkish Cypriots lived on the island, whilst today there are 730,000 Greek Cypriots plus 220,000 other people in the occupied sector of the Republic, of whom only about 85,000 can be regarded as Turkish Cypriots. Even this Christian site, famous in the life of St. Barnabas, nephew of St. Mark the Evangelist, fell victim to art theft after 1974. The monastery, which is open to tourists today as an icon museum, is a farce. Nothing remains of the original precious decoration of the church. Worthless icons of the 19th and 20th century are exhibited here in a haphazard manner, whilst the museum is self-proclaimed as the savior of the Christian art of Cyprus. Often, the search for plundered churches is made difficult by the fact that all the Greek place names were changed to Turkish on orders from Ankara. In Lisi, we met Turkish Cypriots from Paphos in the south of the island who'd left their homes in 1974, allegedly voluntarily, but in reality with incentives, sometimes threats from Ankara. Mustafa Şevket helpfully showed us the way. He's able to report in detail on the plundering under the watchful eyes of the soldiers. Inside the church, we're shocked. Chaos reigns, nothing but chaos. Here, not only have art thieves been at work, but there's also been wanton destruction. Nervously, Mustafa tells us in almost perfect Greek.
Είναι καταστροφή. Μεγάλη καταστροφή για τον τόπο. Σκοτογραφίες εκείνες τις εικόνες, έβαλαν πανί, εκολλήσαν το, κοιτάζεις, ο κόψας σε τεμάχια, Αμερική. Αμερική στο Ιούστο. Ναι, Αμερική. Και το ξέρετε το όνομα για άνθρωποι που κλέψει. Το όνομα
At that time, the church still stood in the middle of a Turkish military camp. Walter Moser, head of the art tracing section of the Bavarian CID in Munich, explains that the case of eμπλεκομένων is the most spectacular art theft of his career and for the CID.
Beim Tatverdächtigen auch diese Fotos gefunden, die belegen, dass er oder seine Mittäter aus diesen Kirchen und Klöstern Fresken und Mosaiken entfernt haben. Und wenn wir jetzt sehen, ein Bild von einer Wandfläche, hier wurden Teile bereits vorgezeichnet und ausgesucht, wie sie später in Natura dann nach Europa gebracht werden sollten. Hier sind Täter beim Abnehmen dieser Teile zu sehen. Hier in der Apsis wird ein Freskenteil entfernt und es ist zwar nicht eindeutig zu belegen, dass der später Festgenommene einer dieser Täter gewesen ist, allerdings, wenn man bedenkt, Aufnahmen beim Täter zum Belegen dieser Echtheit, dann kann man eindeutig von einem Tatzusammenhang sprechen.
Chaos akin to the end of the world. These are the vestiges of barbarianism. The church of Panagia Kanakaria on the Karpas Peninsula in the occupied sector is also one of the few remaining monuments to early Christian art in the Mediterranean region. The architecture of the exterior does not betray anything of the fate that also befell this masterpiece of Byzantine art. The church has been desecrated. All its art treasures, mosaics dating from the period between about 530 and 560, frescoes and icons have fallen prey to thieves. Parts of the apse mosaic turned up in America in 1989. In August, art dealer Peggy Goldberg had to give some answers to the district court in Indianapolis. She had acquired the valuable pieces in Munich and offered them for $20 million on the international art market. In the meantime, the main section of the mosaic has been returned to Cyprus without Peggy Goldberg making any claims for compensation and can be marveled at in the Byzantine Museum in Nicosia. The defilement of the Orthodox cemeteries in the Turkish-occupied sector of Cyprus is unimaginable. This cemetery on the edge of the village of Prophytis Elias is just one example. We saw only one cemetery in the north where there were no shattered graves or overturned crosses to shock visitors. Even from the outside, one can make out the plundering of the Christian churches. It's clearly visible. And then the inside of the church itself. As in all churches, this one in Prophytis Elias has also been robbed of its decoration. After 1974, almost 20,000 icons were stolen from the Turkish-occupied sector of Cyprus and exported illegally. The art markets of Europe and America were virtually inundated with them, so that even today one can still see a regular decline in the price of all Greek icons on the international art market. Famagusta, once the pearl of the Levant, the pride of the Venetians in the eastern Mediterranean, fell to Ottoman troops in 1571. Since that time, the Gothic Cathedral of St. Nicholas is known as the Lala Mustafa Pasha Mosque. Today, Famagusta is situated in the occupied sector of Cyprus. Even before 1974, the people who lived in the old medieval town were predominantly Turkish Cypriots. Today, thousands of immigrants from Turkey also live there. Bella Pais, or Beautiful Peace, has exuded untroubled tranquility for centuries. The Gothic monastery, founded in 1205 by the Augustinians, has not been used by monks since 1570. However, regular services were held in the Abbey Church right up to 1974. When the Turkish troops marched in on July 20th, 1974, Kyrenia and Bella Pais were the first places to be stormed. The people fled into the monastery and remained locked in there for a year until they were forced by the Turkish troops to leave their homeland. To the Greek Cypriots, it was more important to save the icon of St. John the Baptist than their personal belongings. Today, this valuable masterpiece, which dates from 1605, is kept in the Byzantine Museum of Nicosia. The curator of the Byzantine Museum, Ioannis Iliadis, and Professor Charalambos Chotsakoglu from Athens have been trying for years to track down works of art stolen from the Turkish-occupied sector of Cyprus in Europe and America. They collect evidence in order to be able to validate and prove the provenance of works which are the subject of legal proceedings.
Όταν βλέπω αυτή την εικόνα και σκέφτομαι το πόσες τόσες εικόνες, περίπου 20.000 εικόνες, καταστράφηκαν, χάθηκαν, εκλάπησαν από τα τουρκικά στρατεύματα κατοχής και από οργανωμένα δίκτυα αρχαιοκαπηλείας, δεν μπορώ να φανταστώ το χέρι αυτών των ανθρώπων, των αρχαιοκαπήλων, οι οποίοι πήγαν στις στιχογραφίες του Αντιφωνητή, πήγαν στις στιχογραφίες του Αγίου Θυμωνιανού της Λύσης, πήγαν στις στιχογραφίες της Αγίας Σολομονής στην κόμμα του Γιαλού ή στην Παναγία την Κυρά, στα ψυχεδότα της Κανακαριάς. Και το χέρι τους κατέστρεφε αυτές τις στιχογραφίες, στην προσπάθειά τους να τις αφαιρέσουν, στην προσπάθειά τους να τις βγάλουν σε κομμάτια για να τις πουλήσουν, κατέστρεψαν αυτά τα έργα τέχνης στα μοναδικά. Είναι απίστευτη και δεν μιλάω αυτή τη στιγμή ως ένας άνθρωπος από την πλευρά της Εκκλησίας, όπου βλέπει την ιερότητα μόνο των εικόνων, αλλά και ως έργα τέχνης μιας παγκόσμιας πολιτιστικής κληρονομιάς.
Everywhere in Cyprus, heaven has fallen prey to thieves. No swathe of land in the occupied sector of Cyprus was safe from them, not even the lonely mountain region which includes the mountain fortress of Kantara and the village of the same name. Here too, the thieves plundered and stole everything they could lay their hands on. Their banners bore the mottos robbery and vandalism.